Hey gang, I am Jay, welcome to Homemade Heroes. Today's video is going to be following up on my previous video where I made a list of what I think the second series of LEGO Dungeons & Dragons minifigures should be. Of course, that was just my opinion, but I've gone ahead and made them myself in LEGO anyway, and maybe LEGO's watching. They may take a little inspiration from this video, who knows, right? Without further ado, let's get into the minifigures. Here's a minifigure that I've featured before in my videos, and if you're a fan of the Forgotten Realms, then you probably need no introduction to Drizzt Do'Urden. Drizzt is a drow or dark elf that wields twin scimitars. He is a ranger and came from the underground city of Menzoberranzan. And one thing I particularly like about this minifigure is the chainmail, which in-world is a set of mithril chain, if I remember correctly. Not too much to see around the back, but it is a really cool hairpiece. I like the long flowing locks of white hair. Color scheme for Drizzt here is great, as being a ranger he's often found out in the woods, and these dark greens are perfect. Our next minifigure is Elminster Aumar, one of the most well-known wizards and sages in all of Faerun. Now I definitely know that I haven't got the color scheme quite right with Elminster, as he typically wears a red hat with red clothing underneath a blue sash or cape or cloak of some sort. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a red wizard's hat in LEGO right now, so this would have to be a piece that LEGO chose to make in a new color. Elminster is often encountered carrying a staff that seems to be made from a branch or a piece of wood. Elminster is also very old. I think that the white beard is an excellent fit, but perhaps a grey beard would have been better, as I think that is what's more representative of the lore. As you can see from his robes, which come from a Dumbledore minifigure, they are red with gold filigree or gold detailing on them. And while perhaps a little flashier than Elminster would usually wear, I think it looks good. Next we have Vecna, the Archlich. Vecna has come in for quite a lot of attention recently due to the new adventure Vecna Eva Ruin. Many stories abound about Vecna, and as of the present date, he's one of the most well-known of liches in Faerun lore. Vecna is often pictured as a skeletal-like upper body with a greyish skin tone, and then with a robe-covered lower body. As you can see here, this minifigure has captured this rather well. I did have to adjust my camera as it is quite a tall minifigure. You can see there the head has got that grey colour and then some gold detailing around, which fits as a lot of the recent images of Vecna show gold plating on his body, his arms, his torso and his head. I've outfitted Vecna with some shoulder armour, and this adds to the gold colour in this minifigure. From the back, it still looks pretty good, but there's not a lot of detail there. You can see that Vecna is holding a book in his hands, which is my representation of the Book of Vile Darkness. And in the lore, he actually sculpted his ribcage so that this book would fit inside his body. The last of our named characters for this series is, of course, Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga is the mother of all witches and is the direct mother of Bavlorna, Endelyn, and Skabatha from the Wild Beyond the Witchlight adventure. She's also the adopted mother of a very famous witch who we saw in the first series of Dungeons & Dragons LEGO minifigures, and that, of course, is Tasha the Witch, otherwise known as Natasha, Igwilv, or her most recent name, Zybilna, again from Wild Beyond the Witchlight. There are not a lot of great official images of Baba Yaga, and so I've had to go a little bit into my own imagination, so this may not be super accurate. As you can see here, I have her face as this horrible visage, although she does have the power to make herself look however she wants. I've given her long grey hair, And as you can see, her body is a black robe. You can see here that she has a potion and a book of magic probably attached to a rope hanging from her waist. The body here is from a witch minifigure, which was part of one of the collectible minifigure series. As seen here, Baba Yaga is reading from a book of magic. And Baba Yaga wouldn't be Baba Yaga without that most recognizable part of her character, the chicken-footed hut. This is a cute little build that I put together, perhaps like a miniature hut that follows Baba Yaga around, and I would love to see LEGO create one of these. And here we go with the first of our unnamed minifigures. This is a Goliath Blood Hunter. I wanted to include a Blood Hunter as that was one of the classes that is on the free version of Dungeons & Dragons Beyond's character creator. That isn't represented in the first series of Dungeons & Dragons minifigures. Here you can see I have her wielding a short blade. Now this is to cut herself so that she can use her blood magic to make herself more powerful. She also holds a vial or a bottle or a jar, some kind of potion, which I've used to represent alchemy supplies. This is something that is part of the Blood Hunter's starting equipment. She has an armored torso, and I do like the way that there is a slight curve to the lower upper body of this, giving a slightly feminine shape to the minifigure. Around the back we can see a little more detail on that torso. You can see that the armor piece travels around to the back there. I really like this black hair piece. It's got that little bun at the back and then long flowing hair below it. Here we have our gnome wizard from the Illusion School of Magic. Now I did want to make this as a Sverfneblin, a deep gnome. However, as I previously mentioned, I don't have a lot of grey colored heads. I'm hoping though that if LEGO makes this, they will create another really cool featured grey head that we could use. That would work not only for Sverfneblin, but other creatures that have grey skins. The torso here has a large kind of shape, a belt buckle I think it probably is, but could just be decoration on it, and some other detailing around that. This is from Lord of the Rings. I've outfitted our gnome wizard with a glowing staff, and this looks pretty cool. I think that the piece on top of the staff is maybe a little big, but yeah, it works. A nice red cape around the back which fits with the torso color, and here's another angle of that hair piece. And what is that teapot, you may be asking? A good question. I'm not really sure. What about a teapot that can cast some kind of spell? Perhaps steam comes out of the spout of the teapot and wreaths the wizard in steam or smoke, changing their shape or their form, or maybe making them disappear. Here we have our half-orc cleric, and I love this minifigure. As you can see, I've used the armor and the legs from the Dragonborn Paladin, which works amazing for this minifigure. I've also added a helmet, which is from a castle set, along with a warhammer with a brick-built head. The head and torso are from those orc-like creatures in the Ninjago theme. As you can see from this angle, I've put a clear headpiece in the helmet and then attached, which means that the half-orc kind of looks like it's holding onto its helmet. And I can just imagine this half-orc cleric standing in front of her temple, helmet and hammer in hand. The only thing really missing from this minifigure is a cool shield. I'm sure that could be included in an official set. I just didn't have enough hands to hold all the accessories I wanted to add to this figure. Here is our Air Genasi Bard. As I mentioned in my previous video where I talk about my list and how I created it, this is actually the minifigure that I built for a character in my current campaign. Aelin is an Air Genasi lore bard and is currently level 5 in our game. This is a really cool hairpiece. It would be even better if it was in a light blue, but it does give that sense of being wind-blown or constantly kind of moving in a breeze, which is how the Air Genasi's hair is described. As you can see here, one of the accessories I've given Aelin is a bottle. In our game, this is actually a bottle that holds the spell Gust. I don't do this very often, but as you can see, I've used a red Sharpie to mark out some red finger and mouth holes on the white bar. Next we have our ASMR Paladin, or perhaps an ASMR Paladin Oathbreaker, or a Fallen ASMR. This minifigure looks amazing and is probably tied in first place with the Half-Orc Cleric as my favorite minifigure for this video. The torso, head, and legs here are from the current space-themed collectible minifigure series. I would go out and try to find some of them using the QR code on the bottom of the boxes, as this is a really cool minifigure and I think could be used for a lot of different Dungeons & Dragons minis. The torso is well kitted out in this plate armor, looks fantastic, and the good thing about it being a print rather than a piece over the top of the torso is that you can then fit on other things around the upper body of the minifigure. You can see that the clear arms and legs of this minifigure and the head, which is not visible right now, have this kind of glittery effect, which I think is really cool and reminds me of, say, like the stars. And ASMR being connected or related to celestial beings, I think this is a perfect fit. Obviously, I've gone with a heavy gold theme here. I think this also fits with a ASMR. Although if we wanted this minifigure to be a Oathbreaker Paladin or a Fallen ASMR, perhaps putting some black streaks or something like that would be a good fit for LEGO. They could have some darker markings that would give an ominous feel. The gold wings and the gold winged helmet work so well together here. I've also outfitted them with a golden shield that has that head on it, which is an amazing accessory for a Fallen ASMR or Oathbreaker Paladin, as it looks quite demonic. Here's the minifigure without its helmet on, and you can really see that glitter effect coming through, the Starry Night type idea. Next we have our Kobold Wizard, and I decided that it would be cool to have this as a chronology wizard. They work with time, which is also why I gave them the hourglass as an accessory. This is a really good match for this type of wizard. I thought kobolds are not known for their intelligence normally, so it would be a lot of fun to have a kobold that is just smart enough to be a wizard and is very proud of this fact, thereby wearing and having all these fancy wizard-like clothing and accessories. Our kobold wizard has a fancy wizard hat with stars and also a little gold moon on it. I've got some beautiful bright orange trousers, and here is a closer look at the hourglass with the sands of time falling through it. Our second to last minifigure is the Kenku Rogue. I have featured this minifigure in a previous video, so I'm not going to spend too long on it, but I think it came out really well. The torso and legs here are from Pirates of the Caribbean and look kind of like a leather duster or maybe some kind of overcoat. While a little hard to see here, the tattered cape gives the impression of wings almost. The head I've used is from Chima, but I'd really love to see a head with an actual beak or an elongated bird's face, kind of like we got with the Aarakocra head in Series 1. It would still be cool if we could have a hood that fitted over that head, which would mean we could see the beak sticking out of the hood, and that would make a great profile. I saved one of the best until last. This is the Dragonborn Monk. As you can see, I've used the head from the collectible minifigure series Dragon Suit minifigure. I have though added some longer horns in that brown color. Inside the headpiece, I have used a clear minifigure head, as this means that the inside of the mouth is dark but somewhat transparent. I did consider using a red or a pink headpiece. The torso and legs are from Ninjago theme, and I really like the maroon color here. It works great with the green hands and head of the Dragonborn. I've also built a little set of nunchucks or nunchaku, a few details on the back of the torso here, some gold detailing that looks like a dragon's tail, and along with that rune or arcane glyph. There's a nice blue belted sash there at the waist of the Dragonborn, and then what I imagine to be an embroidered gold dragon over the front of this robe. As with all of the minifigures that have an unusually shaped head, they look great in profile, and given how popular the Dragonborn Paladin has been, I would love to see LEGO make a second Dragonborn. There is of course the Dragonborn from the Red Dragon's Tail, and there are other dragon mold heads from the video series. However, those are extremely expensive on Bricklink and so forth, and it would be nice to get something at a cheaper price range that we can all use. Hopefully you enjoyed my wish list of Series 2 D&D minifigures, and fingers crossed, I'm really hoping that there will be a Series 2, and maybe we'll even see some of these combinations that I've put together in this video. Drop any comments about what you would like to see in a Series 2, and see you real soon.